Hi, everybody. Welcome. Um, very happy to be broadcasting this broadcast from Indianapolis, the College of Engineering. Um, my name is Marilyn Mangan, and I am the Director of Recruitment and Strategic Initiatives for the College of Engineering here in Indianapolis. We have an excellent agenda, I think, for all of you tonight. We have opportunities for you to put your questions in the chat, and some of the questions will be answered behind the scenes, but then some of us will be answered live. Okay, so I want to turn to our panelists. First, we have Associate Dean Bill Oakes. We have Assistant Dean Aaron Lanas, and then a biomedical engineering student, Ishita. I do want to mention we'll be taking a break, a short break, and then we will have students from other majors as well. So I'm going to start with you, Professor Oakes, and you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Bill Oakes, or my students would call me Professor Oakes. I'm Associate Dean for Undergraduate Education. And on behalf of the college, I want to congratulate you for being admitted to one of the top engineering programs in the world.
I'm Aaron Lanas. I'm Assistant Dean for Engineering in Indianapolis and also a Professor of Practice in Biomedical Engineering.
Hi everyone, I'm Ishita. I am a sophomore in biomedical engineering, and this is my second year here.
Okay, great. Before we get started with the questions, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about Purdue and the College of Engineering and all the exciting things that are going on. I mean, I think our audience, they've applied here, they've been directly admitted to their program, which is, I think, super exciting. So I think everybody's pretty familiar with, the prestige and the academic rigor and all the different things that are going on in the College of Engineering, or some of the things. But I think, Purdue's known for its giant leaps and different things that are going on. And so I kind of want to focus a little bit about some of those things that are going on in Indianapolis. And I just thought maybe you all could give your perspective on what makes maybe some unique things to highlight. You want to start, Professor Oakes?
Sure. Well, I think one of the top things we have going is we have the best professors. Yeah, see, the students always laugh when I say that. Hurts my feelings a little.
We didn't laugh, did we? No. We're agreeing, yeah.
So Purdue is one of the top ranked institutions within the United States. Actually, it's recognized all over the world, which is a really neat thing to do. As a Purdue grad myself, we run into industry leaders that are Purdue graduates in very high places. And it's one of the things I didn't appreciate. So I did my first 2 degrees, didn't do them here, did them at a different school. When I was coming here, all of a sudden, company I worked in, a lot of high-level managers, suddenly I mattered because they were Purdue grads. And so that network means a lot. You've got some of the best minds in the world doing research here, which is really cool. Did my PhD here, and one of the things that kept me was it was real balance between top-notch research expertise and people who generally cared about students. And that combination is fairly rare, that you've got a lot of people on faculty and staff that are very dedicated to the students. I've also really appreciated working with the high quality students that we get. We get students that are very serious about their studies and do just some very incredible things outside of the classroom. Our engineering students are engaged in all kinds of things. Down here in Indianapolis, I am the advisor for the Purdue Music Organization, which is a joke because I can't carry a tune. But the students needed a faculty advisor and do some pretty incredible music. So there are all kinds of opportunities here.
Do you have things you want to add to that?
Sure. Again, I think just reiterating the renown of Purdue, kind of wherever you travel in the world, we'll be walking down the street somewhere and you always see a Purdue shirt. So they're just Purdue graduates everywhere, and probably biased. My degrees are from Purdue. My parents graduated from Purdue. My wife graduated from Purdue. Of our 3 kids, one graduated from Purdue, one's at Purdue, one's coming to Purdue next year. So we have a lot of Purdue experiences. I think one thing that stands out to me, especially for Indianapolis, is really that focus on career or industry readiness. So starting from really your first year, looking at how can we prepare you, how can we start building those relationships with industry and start getting the internships really as early as possible. We may talk about it later. There's the guaranteed work experience program. So we'll guarantee a placement, a paid job experience for engineering students, sometime during your undergrad career at Purdue. So it's really looking at all those connections within Indiana, across the country, across the globe. How can we get you ready for what industry is looking for?
Okay, so now, of course, I'm going to go. Your perspective is super important, I know, especially to the audience here. So what are some of the things that you have found special about the time you've been here?
I love that question a lot. I was the first class of Purdue and Indianapolis students, and I was one of those students who wanted to come to Indianapolis. As a biomedical engineering student, the first thing that caught my eye was that I would be directly admitted into the BME program. And I knew pretty early on that I wanted to go into healthcare, so I didn't really feel the need to have that exploratory period, even though it is valuable for some students. And I was able to connect directly with BME professors as well as get clinical opportunities and internships related in medical device development from my first year itself. I also joined the FTR, so First Time Researchers Fellowship Program, where I got a scholarship to conduct research with a biomedical engineering professor my first year, so as a freshman. And I also got an internship through a Engineering 103 class, which is a Office of Professional Practice class, which is required for all engineering majors. And it is essentially teaching you skills to talk to employers, as Dr. Larsis was talking about, employers as well as interviews, mock interviews, LinkedIn, and etc., teaching you tangible skills, which will carry you through undergrad and beyond. That's how I landed my first internship during the spring semester of my freshman year, as well as summer, and also a clinical immersion program. So there's Inscribe as well as cardiovascular through the IU Medical School, which is just maybe a few blocks from campus. So all these different opportunities for me as a biomedical engineering student. And I know a lot of my friends in motorsports have Delara as well as Motor Speedway right there. They're working hands-on with cars from their first year itself. And there's a lot of different opportunities for students. And that is what brought me to Purdue and Indianapolis.
And you are wearing me out already. How long have you been here? Yeah, that's my point. There are so many cool things going on. I'm looking at the questions, and the first one it looks like is, do Purdue Indianapolis students take the same courses as Purdue West Lafayette? What's the same and what is different? Dr. Oakes, you want to take this first?
Yeah, I'd love to. We have the same courses. The curriculum's the same, and I will tell you, after teaching for 27 years in West Lafayette, your first year I was teaching 7:30 in the morning, driving down here. Got to see a lot of sunrises and before. So we have the same core classes. In all the engineering programs, pretty much the first 2 years, everybody's taking the same classes within a major. And then in the junior and senior year, there are electives. So some of the electives end up being different based on which faculty are here. As you said, we've got faculty here in biomedical engineering. They're connected with some of the medical facilities and some of those. But the courses are, it's the same degree, it's the same rigor. The core classes are the same. In my role as associate dean, we actually look across classes to make sure that the content's the same and the way that they're graded. I was going to say, one of the things that I've appreciated down here is it's a smaller size, and I think there's more community down here. So the getting to know the students, I think we get for that, but they're the same classes. Often a lot of the same faculty go back and forth.
Anybody have anything else they want to add?
I'll just add, kind of reiterating what Ishita said on some of the courses. Again, there's additional opportunities. So like clinical immersion for biomedical engineering. There's so many clinics, hospitals nearby the Indianapolis campus that you don't have different students who might be in West Lafayette don't have those same experiences. So there's some different unique points where there's strengths within the Indianapolis location. The motorsports in particular being one of those. Those courses are different here because that motorsports isn't offered in West Lafayette.
Now, that would be a big difference. I guess we should, I guess we probably should have talked about that because going in, you know, there are differences in that motorsports is only offered here. And so there will be differences in that. The next question is about the engineering resources and the two different locations. So, Ishita, do you want to talk about just some of the other resources you're doing, and then we can kind of circle back and.
To clarify, do you mean career-based or?
Well, that's a good question.
Any of the resources
Any of the-
used for
yeah.
academic or social, yeah.
For sure. What I found really valuable as a first-year student was the ASC program, which is the Academic Success Center. It is a Purdue program, so it is offered both in West Lafayette as well as Indianapolis. There's a strong core of team of peer tutors who are offering courses such as chemistry, physics, as well as even major-specific courses. So I'm taking a bioinstrumentation and circuit theory class right now, which is essentially building circuits in class, and there's a peer tutoring session for that. So there's all these sorts of different courses offered as well, and you are working with peer tutors who've already taken those courses and passed with flying like good grades and everything, so they can give you some insider tips as well. And then there was also the Math Assistant Center, which I believe is no longer going to be offered, but it was a very important part. Essentially, Purdue engineering has a lot of math offered, and there's a lot of support for that as well for students who are looking out for it. And as Professor Oakes talked about in the beginning about the class sizes being smaller, I would say in my BME class, we have about 20, 30, 40 students in one class, and we have so much time with the professor. So the professor knows each of us by name. We're able to ask questions in class, go to their office hours. They have recitation sections as well where we are practicing problems, and it's very hands-on as well as collaborative because of that small class size. Also, I would say talking to your peers is one of the biggest resources because you're able to communicate with them. You know them very well because it is a smaller campus. And I mean, every time I step outside my room, I'm seeing my friends, my acquaintances, everyone I know is a familiar face as well. So yeah, and some of the other resources I would say is the Campus Connect shuttle. So if I ever do need to go to West Lafayette as an Indy student for, say, career fairs, research conferences, or just student clubs, or even watch a football game, I know I have a friend who does that quite often. So they would use the Campus Connect shuttle and go up to West Lafayette, and we have equal opportunity to go there, and vice versa. I've heard a lot of students from West Lafayette come to watch Fever games, Pacers games, Victory Field. There's minor league baseball here as well, and a lot of good food and restaurants as well.
So that's a lot of resources.
Last
You
year
want
was
to,
a better year to watch the Pacers.
well, you know, it might get better.
I do want to make a comment on the math resource. So there are things on this campus sometimes that we share with the other school that happen to be a little bit better of us than football this year.
That's
But
cool.
what's happening is with the math resource center, it's moving over to an exclusive. That was something that was shared. And so it's not that math help's going away, it's we're shifting it to something.
So it will now be just a straight Purdue resource.
Purdue,
Yep.
yeah.
And I think the thing to know is, for those of you who are listening to us and have been admitted, the resources, they really do go back and forth. If there's something that's not here, there are opportunities, as Ishta said, with the shuttle bus and vice versa. And yes, timing has to work out and all those kind of things with your schedule, but it really is integrated. I think that's something that, you know, the questions where we're being asked to, you know, what is the same, what is the difference? I think and please jump in on this, but I think really the thing that is the most important to understand is that the two locations are integrated. There is not, it is, you know, commencement, for instance, is in West Lafayette. Everyone is, you know, going there. So it's totally all the resources, everything is integrated. Does that make sense? you guys could probably say that a little bit better than I can, but I think that's one of the things sometimes that gets lost in translation, that it's not Indianapolis, it's not West Lafayette, it's one Purdue. So, but I love this next question. What makes, oh, you changed it on me.
I like it. Let's answer.
What makes Indy a strong campus? I mean, I like these questions they're being asked about, without saying this or that. So I know what I think, but I'm supposed to be moderating here. So
I think one of the things, but is with this campus, it's built on a foundation of some of our top programs that are electives and a small a fraction of the students might have. So the first year experience, students are on either an EPICS, which is a community-based design program, or VIP, the vertically integrated project. So students are on from day one. As you mentioned, career readiness, you're on a real team with doing real work, whether it's a community project or whether it's a research project. There's been a real, there's more of a sense, I think, of community here from the first year with the students directly admitted into the major, that they've got a connection, as you said, you understood the direction that you're wanting to get to. All of the students here take the 103 class that you referred to, the Office of Professional Practice. And I will tell you that the percent of students that have gotten internships after the first year kind of blew our mind. That we tried this different approach. So the amount of experiences that you have, I will tell you, some of your classmates I talked to, they found all kinds of fun things to do. Yeah, I mean, you're in a city and you've got opportunities there. Yeah, my kids have all moved out of the state. I don't. For bigger things, that you've got opportunities to pop into professional sports and other things. There's a lot of stuff that's walkable here.
There's so much to do here. That's, so much to do.
And I was going to add too, it's a very collaborative environment. So a lot of these first year projects, you have students from different disciplines, different colleges, different schools. So I know we went to one of the poster sessions, they were presenting what they've done for a semester. And there was, a student from mechanical engineering, might have been a student from biomedical engineering, a student from integrated business and engineering, so part of the business school. I think there was someone from the Polytechnic school. So again, all of those different schools within engineering, different colleges, all working together in that very first semester on one project. So bringing in all those different ideas and different disciplines makes it a really great environment. And you can do that again, not just from the first year, but your second year, third year, fourth year, keep carrying that through.
So to recap, I was just going to say, what makes the Indy campus strong? We're talking about experiential learning, collaborative environment, all the fun things to do in the city, the student orgs that are going on here.
I was going to touch base on
Okay,
that.
I'm going to then turn it over to you.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about the tangible aspects, experiential learning, industry. I kind of want to touch on the mindset as well. I would say that the strongest part of Purdue and Indianapolis is our founder mindset, where each of us is kind of motivated to bring the campus forward and grow it from scratch, especially now that we're one of the people who are starting here. And you as a student have the opportunity to create something of your own. If you find that it's missing or you want to grow something, you have the option to join an organization or create one of your own. So I was able to get together with some of my friends in my first year in fall semester, and I noticed there was hospitals and clinics everywhere, but there wasn't a pipeline for students to access those resources from the start. So I created the Purdue and Indianapolis Medical Association, also known as PIMED, on campus. Now we've grown from a club of like 7, 8 board members to now over 65 members in our club. And we have regular attendance of over 30 students at our events. We've hosted the first blood drive, as well as hosted the first anatomy cadaver lab tour in collaboration with the IU Medical School, which to be honest, is kind of unheard of in other bigger schools, for example, because you have direct access and people are willing to give you resources. I think that is the strongest part of Purdue and Indianapolis, how willing everyone is to help you create something for the betterment of other students as well.
Okay.
They're very entrepreneurial
Yeah.
and very
but-
open of speaking their minds. So, yes.
Goes along, right, with the entrepreneurial
Oh, yeah,
spirit of
very much.
Purdue. I mean, Purdue is just, that's what I was getting at when I, starting out. This is all part of that. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, and I think it's even more here. I think, as you said, there's a group. 2 years ago, we were talking about you are the first group and you're going to help create stuff.
Yeah, good
And,
point.
and they've really taken it to heart. I think it's really embedded some real special stuff into the culture here.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Okay, so on to the next question. How connected is this campus to the Indiana University campus?
We don't go to their football games.
Well, if that's what somebody's asking, right, that's not going to happen. Not at all. Who wants to take that question?
Well, so we're physically located in the same spaces, and honestly, we share some of the same buildings. So you will actually walk into some buildings where you've got a Purdue logo next to an IU logo, which in most of the state that I don't think is legal.
Well, maybe we should work on world peace, right?
Yeah.
That happens.
And so there are resources,
Yeah.
and so there's some of the things that we've talked about, as you said, like we used to use the math resource center. There are spaces here. It was an integrated campus, and we're figuring out how to share those things. We're also building some exciting new facilities that are coming up. There are areas of collaboration, as you mentioned, in biomedical engineering. There's conversations between IU Medical School and biomedical engineering, and there are some other opportunities that we have. So it's definitely a collaboration, and I think it gives us some other opportunities. We are still two institutions, so it's not like you're at one and have the other, and we're still going to beat them in basketball at least.
Hope so.
Yes.
Add on as a student as well. So Professor Oakes mentioned all everything, like events and everything are separate. Also the classes are also separate. So as a student, I don't have any shared classes with the IU School of Medicine or IU students. Purdue in Indianapolis has our own set of professors, which are then traveling between West Lafayette and Indianapolis, and we have our own classes, and the rigor is exactly the same as West Lafayette. So all the courses that BME students in West Lafayette as sophomores are taking for the spring, I'm taking as well. So BME 231 or like some other courses as well. So essentially it is like shared physical location, but everything that we do is very similar to West Lafayette.
And I should say we have a mix. We have some dedicated faculty and staff here. Some people travel back and forth.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, what can you tell us about the campus living options in Indianapolis? And I am gonna start with you, Ishita, on this one, okay?
Okay. I started living on campus my first year. So I was at North Hall, which is the on-campus residence dormitory experience. It is very much the traditional dorm experience. You get outside your room, you have your neighbors who are peers, international students, out of state. I'm personally an out-of-state student, so I found a lot of my relationships and friendships from that dormitory experience. I continued living in the dorms, not as a student, but as an RA, which is a residential assistant, so advisor. So essentially what we do is we work with students and we host weekly events to make sure that we're forming a community. So essentially you have friends beside you as well as weekly events to keep you engaged. We have boba nights or movie nights or international student nights. I'm about to host a yoga night. So there's all these different sorts of communities formed within the dormitory experience as well. To note, a lot of my friends freshman year were also living off campus. So there are students who are commuting as well, or living on apartments off campus. Purdue doesn't require you to live on campus in your first year, but if you do live on campus, then you need to get some meal plans, and there's meal plans available as well. So there's a lot of flexibility, I would say, Purdue offers. One question I get a lot from my friends is, can I bring a car to campus? Yes, you can. Do I have one? No. Do I need one? No. It's a very walkable campus. My dorm is like 5 minutes away from all my classes. The maximum I've had to walk is maybe 10, 15 minutes to get to a class. So it's a very walkable campus, and I'd say living is very community based. I think that's the common thread we've been talking about. There's a lot of community on this campus, and it's reflected in the dormitory experience as well.
And we've got 2 residential experiences, 2 buildings. Some of the things I've appreciated here, like we actually bring office hours for all the first year students for the engineering and science courses into the residence hall. So I think the rotation is Monday, Tuesday at North and Wednesday, Thursday at Lutz or vice versa. So there's a lot of opportunities. There are faculty and staff that are, what do they call them? Faculty fellows on the floors. There's some events that we have in the residence halls too.
Isn't the new building also going to have a lot of dorms?
Yes, there's a new building that'll come online in 2027.
I'm glad you should ask that because I wanted to.
Although you all are going to be here in 2026, which I didn't necessarily bring up. But yeah, there's most expensive building produced is
And
gonna
it's
be-
very close too. I mean,
Yep.
everything is right here. What about things like going to the groceries since you don't have a car? Are these things within, you can walk or you have friends or what?
Get a Pacers bike share pass. It is free for Marion County residents, which you are automatically if you're living in Indianapolis. Essentially, you get the free 30-minute bike rides from all around town. So you can catch one right next to the campus center or right in one next to the North Hall or even Lux. And there's a Kroger, I believe.
It's right across the
30
street.
seconds from
Yeah,
Lux.
it's right across the street.
So
Yeah.
it maybe takes me like a 5-minute bike ride to go there, or like scooters are everywhere on Indianapolis. I come from Iowa, never seen that before.
Really?
Yes, it was transformative for me. I passed the first week of classes. You just hop on a scooter, you're going all around town. You can leave it
shit.
wherever you
Well, it
want.
scared me to death. I'm afraid I'm going to get run over by one though, more than anything.
So it's fun. It's fun. And yeah, friends are there as well. A lot of helpful friends too. So yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, our next question, are students able to take courses or transfer to the West Lafayette location?
So we're an hour apart with the 2 locations. There are some students that will be able to take classes. So let me go back. There are opportunities to take classes if there's a demand on the other location. We have done our best to provide online opportunities so they don't have to travel. If students could make something work with a schedule that includes transportation, there are some opportunities. With the transfer, there is a process by which students can be evaluated for transfer. But I will tell you, just being honest, I would not accept coming to Indianapolis with the expectation I'm going to move to West Lafayette. We're really looking at people that would like to be here. There is a change of location
Well,
process.
and that's what the transfer I think is a little tricky because really you're already a Purdue.
You're at the
student.
Purdue, so there's
Yeah.
a process where you can apply for a change of location. But with the majors here, they're very popular majors, and there's a limited number of people that come. So I think if you're looking at it to say, I'd like to come to Indianapolis with the idea I'm immediately going to move to West Lafayette, this probably isn't the right place. But if you come here and there are opportunities that you want, either way, with the other location, we get some students that say, hey, I want to do motorsports. Well, we got to be here. There is that. And we're happy to follow up with more detail.
But I firmly believe if someone comes here, they're not going to want to leave.
And not just courses, but there's students who can take, they'll do research. West Lafayette student may come to Indy to do research, Indianapolis student may go to West Lafayette to do research depending on their interest. So there's a number of students who are doing that too. I mean, I typically take the bus when I'm going back and forth. Runs every couple of hours. Can do work.
Yeah, during the week it's 8 times a day, which I think people are really surprised about that it travels back and forth 8 times a day. And I know when I've taken it, I do see students coming back and forth
They just had a celebration that they've done enough miles that they could have gone to the moon and back.
Yeah.
Can we take the second question?
Okay, so I love this question. Thank you, Dr. Oakes. What industry partnerships or internship pipelines exist in Indianapolis, especially with local engineering or tech companies?
So I love this because right before we did this broadcast, I was actually in a meeting where we're talking explicitly about this. We've got, and this is part of the entrepreneurial kind of mindset. So we have some companies that are here locally. They're looking at doing some innovative approaches for internships and continue having the students work during the school year. We've got a dedicated staff down here. When I say down here in Indianapolis, where we have this career services people that serve all the way across campus. We have the Office of Professional Practice, which runs the course that you talked about. And we have the different colleges that are all connected here. So we have the opportunities and the career services for the whole campus. And then we've got dedicated job fairs and pipelines here in Indianapolis and more broadly. So there are little companies, maybe you've heard of them, like Tesla, that shows up here looking for Indianapolis students. So some of the places like Tesla actually hires more, they hire more students from Purdue than any other institution. And they actually show up on both locations. So we've got a combination of people who are doing both locations to some that are actually specifically looking here within the local area. And all of the first year students take at least one class from the people whose job it is to help get to internships and co-ops. So not only do they get to learn those things, but they get to build relationships with those. I think you said you got an internship out of that? What was that? Can you talk a little bit about?
For sure. So Purdue and Indianapolis, I'm not sure if West Lafayette has this too. They have an Interns for Indiana or IFI program. It essentially is a pool of startups in Indianapolis as well as Indiana, where students get funded to take an internship either during their school year or summer as well. They also invite speakers from these companies, startups, corporations, larger corporations as well. So as Professor Oakes was talking about Tesla, we've had companies from like Cummins come and talk about in our class, Eli Lilly, as well as a bunch of different companies come to campus and give talks to students. And there's recruiters there on campus as well. And at this point, I've spent 2 years on this campus, and these things I used to get like, oh my gosh, Eli Lilly's coming to campus, Tesla's coming to campus. Now it's a second day nature. Oh yeah, Cummins is coming, Caterpillar, yeah, they're usually here. Yeah, so there was a joke where students are like always having their resume in their backpack. It's a very common occurrence. And Purdue is very like career oriented, so they are very preparatory. We have Resumanias and helping you like do LinkedIn reviews and resume reviews and all of that. For the class specifically, it is required for all first-year engineering students to take it. You'd either take it in your first semester or your second, depending on your major. And you'd get to interact with these recruiters first on, hear their presentations, talk to them, and then they usually have positions open. So I applied, like submitted my resume and everything. I heard back about an interview, did one round of interviews and was accepted in my first semester. And then I started in my second semester of freshman year. And I was a research and development intern, so R&D, and that is what I was looking to do. And I had a really good time at the company, and I'm still in contact with them. So it's a very wholesome process. I know a girl in my class, she was different major, but she landed a co-op at, I believe, like Honda or Toyota from first year. So it's a very common occurrence, and students, you just need to be like proactive and look out for these opportunities because they're presented to you very often on campus.
I know one of my favorite things was to see the networking event that the Office of Professional Practice put on, and they put this on for first year students. And there were all the companies, a lot of the companies you mentioned, and they were all local. And we loved it. Alums were coming back to network, and you're right. It's just common, and you really don't think about it. For me, that was particularly fun because I got to see a lot of alums that I hadn't seen in a while. And you're just so proud of them because they, they were issued a sitting here as a second year student and then they're back hiring our students. So yeah, that's terrific.
Yeah, I just had an email today
Should
from
I ask
Cummins
that for-
saying, can you please send us names of your mechanical and electrical engineering students who, we're looking to hire more and we haven't got enough applications.
Is
So
that okay to-
they're reaching out for individual names.
I can answer that.
Okay, the
I'd love
next,
to answer that.
this next question. Is the 5-year BS mechanical engineering plus BS motorsports engineering still offered?
So it's an interesting question. No, I get students, it's like, oh, can I get 2 engineering degrees? And my answer is like, and why? It is possible to get any combination of engineering degrees. You just have to meet the qualifications for both degrees. And in general, it will take longer to do that than to get a bachelor's in one and a master's in the other. And Purdue's actually developed what they call 4+1 programs, where you can get a bachelor's degree, and that's the 4, and then get a master's degree. So they're programs you apply for in the junior year. And in like mechanical engineering or motorsports, you can go either way. So I can get a 4+1. So I can get a motorsports bachelor's degree and a master's in mechanical engineering. And our friends in the motorsports industry says there's a lot of demand for those kinds of things. The advantage of getting a master's degree is you go into a master's level salary. There are different types of jobs, higher pay. You get 2 bachelor's degrees, you still go in as a bachelor's level person. So there are opportunities. We're also working Purdue as a whole to increase opportunities to say I can get a bachelor's degree in this kind of engineering and a master's degree in another for students who.
So ME to BME, BME to ME.
Correct. That if you get into something and you want to go, but you are allowed to take it for those. There's not an integrated 5-year program, but the integrated 5-year program gets you a master's degree and not 2 bachelor's
Has the
degrees.
same thing of you can do it, but why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And this was,
Probably take longer, right?
yeah. So I mean,
It actually does.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the point.
It
So
probably does.
it would take longer than.
Yeah, but when you're looking at, I put in my father hat on, grandfather now, but that's a different, if you're looking at putting in that time, you might as well get a master's.
And for the 4+1 or something called accelerated masters, you're dual counting, and I know this is looking a few years ahead, but you're dual counting credit from your undergrad towards your grad. So it reduces and really lets you finish in 1 year. Actually, some of our, especially BME students, they'll graduate with their undergrad in December. They do 1 semester and they have a master's in May. So there's these 4+1 programs in ME and motorsports and BME, ECE. So all the.
And they're very popular. They're very popular. I think we have time for one more question. I do want to though say we do have a motorsports student who will, we've got these motorsports engineering questions I see on the board. So we have a motorsports student who will be on the panel coming up. So when we do take a break, all you motorsports question people, don't go away. But so what does the actual diploma say when you get your Bachelor of Science in Motorsports?
The motorsports engineering is an accredited degree. So it would say a bachelor's in motorsports engineering, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's correct too.
And there's another part of this. Indianapolis and West Lafayette are part of the same campus. So the degrees actually say the same.
They say West Lafayette. That's what
we
I was,
refer to
right.
it is, yeah, we have 1 campus and 2 locations, but the degree is exactly the same. So mechanical engineering degree from Purdue is the main campus degree for both.
And the ABET accreditation, the mechanical engineering is accredited as 1 program. BME is 1 program. So there's not different accreditations
Actually,
for different
yeah.
locations.
I use the acronym. So ABET is the accreditation body. So we have mechanical
Excellent
engineering.
points. Sorry, I think we're supposed to, I'm getting blinded up. Well, we will be back in 3 minutes. Okay, don't go away. Okay, everyone, we are back, and now we have a couple of additional students with us. You've already met Ishita, so I am going to start over here with you, Layla. And do you want to introduce yourself and what your major, major, you know the drill.
My name is Layla. I'm a senior in the motorsports engineering program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Layla?
Oh, I am from just north of Indianapolis. I'm local.
Okay.
So, hi guys, I'm Jasper Lee. So I'm actually an international student from Taiwan, and I'm also a sophomore in electrical engineering.
And Ishita, did we say where you were from? We didn't, did we? We don't have to, but I just think it's kind of nice if we've got people out there from, you know, the same states or probably like, yes. So
Mine's gonna be rare, but so I'm Ishita again. I'm biomedical engineering student, sophomore. I am from Iowa. I've also lived in India for a few years, so an out-of-state student.
okay, terrific. So you know what, I will just start with questions, and I was going to come up with my own, but I think maybe I'll stick to the questions that the audience has. In regard to class size, what is the usual class size for engineering classes at Indianapolis? So Layla, you want to talk about your large, if you know what the largest, what the smallest, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so class sizes in general can really range depending upon what year of school that you're in. Your first year to 2 years, you're going to have those larger classes where you can have about like 1 to 200 max, really. And then as you get later on into your programs, the class sizes do tend to end up being a little bit smaller. I think the smallest class I personally had was 10 people, and it was a very niche motorsports like extracurricular class, so there wasn't a lot of people in that one, but they do tend to be about in that range. But I think, would you guys agree with around like 30 to 40 is probably average for most classes in your major?
Yeah, I would say like for ECE, like the major Pacific classes, we have around like 40 to 60 people. It ranges, depends on what the class is and if it's a lab. Yeah.
For the more specific classes, like for example, epics or VIP, which we talked about in the earlier session, there's smaller classroom sizes. So depending on your project, you might have 10, 15, 20, 25 students in the class. And those are really meant to be more hands-on. So it makes sense to have the smaller class size. Whereas the more first year engineering curriculum, like the chemistry, physics, math courses are much larger. So your class size might go all the way up to 200, 250, and be split into multiple sections. So you might have 80 to 90 students in one class. But as you're essentially growing and becoming more major specific, your class size usually does decrease.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give this one to you because we had some motorsports questions earlier, so I'm just going to go to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you describe your experience in motorsports engineering?
Yeah, of course. It's really hard to sum up in like just a few sentences, but what I can say, like ideally, would be that it's a lot of networking, it's a lot of connections, it's a lot of having really close relationships with your peers. There might seem like a lot of people your first like year or two here, but you really do get to know everyone like individually, and have really great relationships with friends and even the professors. They know us all by name, especially as you get later on in the program. But other than like class sizes and that sort of thing, it's a great place to learn and like cultivate your experience and what's going on in the motorsports world. Like we talk a lot about current things that are going on and really that nitty gritty. It's hard to describe, but the realistic part of racing that is really not like publicized in media. You're gonna have that really strong background and truly understanding like the mechanics and the aerodynamics and all of the things that go into how it works all together. And they do that through a lot of hands-on applications, which is what makes it, I think, truly a great experience for most of the people who graduated, is that hands-on experience that we get from our professors and from the lab experience that we have is, I think, very unique. And obviously it's the only ABET accredited program in the US, but I think that makes it very special for engineering in general.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna jump into this next question, but we can talk about it for specific majors or just in general. So the question is, what help does the university offer for internships or co-ops? So I know that Ishita and Jasper, you two both have had recent internships, right? So Jasper, do you want to talk about how, how you got your internship and how you learn about these things? And there's lots of help, but you guys take this from me.
Yeah, so I currently work for an office called OPP, which stands for Office of Professional Practice. And yeah, it's like so OPP they host like career fair like around campus. And I just went to like the very first career fair in Indy and throwing out my resume and not expecting to have a job. But it turns out I got an internship that's past summer in the electrical construction company, which my job is to design and analyze the entire circuit of a building and make sure that doesn't kill anyone, which the job is kind of intense. I'm gonna be honest with you guys because the building it's gonna be like minimum of like 700 people in there. Yeah, but yeah.
But did you feel like, what about the classes that you take, like that you're taking through the Office of Professional Practice? Do you think those are helpful in helping find an internship or prepare you or for co-ops?
Yeah, so one of the class that OPP offers called Engineering 103, Intro into Professional Practice. So that class basically helped us build our personal resume, LinkedIn account, and then train ourselves to be more prepared when we talk to companies. And I feel like that class really helps me a lot because, I'm an international kid. My English wasn't that good, and then I don't really know how to write like a good resume in general. And those resources provided in the class just helped me out a lot.
And Ishita, what about you? And then I'm going to come back to you. But Ishita, what about you with the help? I mean, I know you talked about a little bit in the first session, but if you want to repeat a little bit of that and then just kind of expand on it.
Yeah, for sure. So as a BME, we had our Engineering 103 the fall semester of our freshman year. I think the structure is still the same, and I think EC takes its spring semester, something like that. So depending on your major, you will be enrolled in this class as a first-year student. It's a required course. Essentially, you go into class, there's usually recruiters, speakers coming in, and they're talking about company and specifically what roles they're looking for. So I reached out to the CEO of a startup company, and they offered me an interview, and I was able to get a research and development position so I interned at the startup for 8 months in my freshman year, so spring and summer semesters. And I really enjoyed the work. I was working with ECG data, a lot of like patient clinical stuff files. And to me personally, that was really what I was looking for. The company itself, it's like epileptic seizure detection wearables. So I was working a lot with like hands-on, like PCB monitoring and all of these things. And I would say as international students, it was wonderful that Jasper did get that internship position, but a lot of the times there's a lot of like visa issues or things like that. So I would say research as well as a lot of different opportunities also exist on campus, and professors are so willing to take students. There's an FTR program like mentioned earlier, but if you're joining us new for FTR is the first time researcher fellowship. Essentially, you are funded to conduct research with a professor on campus. You can choose to be on West Lafayette as well as Indianapolis. Totally up to you. The research is so varied. There's autonomous vehicles, there's like rat dissections. So I like work like euthanize rats and then like I'm scanning bones, which I'm excited about. I'm working with chronic kidney disease research, but different people have different research backgrounds.
Oh, well, look at the time, right?
Okay. Yes, there's a lot of career development opportunities on campus.
I'm just teasing. Okay, so then with motorsports, I think it works a little bit differently because you're typically not going to find Delara has come to some of our career fairs, but they're not typically, well, let me take that back. If you're a motorsports engineering major, you can work at an automotive company, obviously, and those companies you will find at a career fair. But if somebody is talking about an internship with the race team, the process might look a little bit differently.
Yeah,
right?
so the process for that for most of my friends who've gotten them is going to be that connections that I was talking about the experience. that is truly the best way to get them. You'll hear through the grapevine from someone who knows someone who knows someone who's hiring at this company, and they can be like, hey, I know this person, here's their resume, or have you gotten their resume? You should take a look at it. And a lot of jobs in this industry are obtained that way, especially like what Marilyn was saying, those specific like team jobs. Even some of like the supporting companies like HRC, sometimes Delara even, depending upon who you know there. With us having a connection with them, we do know a lot of people who work there now.
And having said that,
Yeah.
like the networking events that the campus, that the College of Engineering, I should say, puts on, we do have motorsports alums coming back who are working in, you know, various either race teams or industry, or so it's
they've
happening,
done a really
but
good
it's
job of bringing people here to help build your network, even as a freshman, where it might be a little intimidating to go talk to that scary senior, which I promise we're not scary, but it might seem that way sometimes. But it's a really great place to start, and they do a really good job of bringing in like very experienced professionals, and even the professors, they've all worked somewhere in the industry, and they're a really great resource if you're just starting your job searching as well.
And that is, you know, I will get companies or race teams. I typically just send them on to the director of our motorsports program.
And then he sends them to us, and you'll
right. So it really it is all about the networking and the connections, and it's great fun for all of it, you know. But there is plenty of help, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, no matter which major we're talking about. I mean, would you two agree with that too? Especially you're sophomores and you were able to do this as a freshman, and I think it's not as uncommon as I would have thought a long time ago. Go ahead.
I think this is a good time. I think we just talked about it earlier, but we also have a new guaranteed internship program or work experience program. It's called GWE. It essentially ensures that you like participate in programs and you're able to get some sort of career placement before you graduate from Purdue in Indianapolis, which can look like a co-op, a internship, research position, even a study abroad. And then there's also a GEAR program, which essentially places you at an international internship program. So a lot of students take those language courses because they want to, and they're able to sign up into this program, get accepted, and then go abroad and study as well as do internships abroad. And then specifically for motorsports, as well as more hands-on jobs that you're looking for, a lot of my students, I'm also a TA for OPP, a lot of my students wonder, how do I get that work experience to put on my resume so that I do get those internships and work experiences? So Purdue, I think, does a really good job of giving you that exposure from first year itself, especially through those EPICS and VIP programs where I've seen students, like my friends, they've been in that motorsports lab and they're working on cars and go-karts and racing at Grand Prix. I mean, if you've heard of Grand Prix, I hadn't before I came to campus, but those are really exciting space. I went to the Motorsports Speedway Museum and I just saw cars everywhere. There's helmets, bikes, like there's just so many different opportunities. One of my friends, when we went to the museum, he said, oh, I worked on a steering wheel or motor that was going to be installed in the museum. So all these hands-on tangible experiences, there's from the start. So just a little bit.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I also want to add on like I'm actually in research like since the past semesters, and my research project is kind of cool because it's like a great collaboration between like IU Medical School, Purdue Electrical Engineering, and we also have collaboration with like company and friends, which they sponsor us. We actually just got like a 5 million grant from them recently. And my research project is like we're trying to make like a portable device, like an antenna around your head. That's gonna emit like 64 megahertz of frequency into your head that kills the protein or bacteria that cause Alzheimer. So essentially, we're treating Alzheimer patient. Yeah. So yeah, my point is like there's a lot of research on campus, which I just talked to like actually our graduate assistant Ariana, and then she put me on the research, and now I'm about to be the lead of the simulation team.
That's very exciting. And again, it's networking, right? And I think that's something that I think all of you would agree with. You can't be shy. You have to. But here, I think one of the really great things about Indy is we talked about this a lot, the collaborative spirit and it being, you know, small enough that you can you just know each other and you can refer each other and those kind of things. So anyway, lots of help. You can tell you guys are excited about it. We could talk about this quite a bit. I'm going to go with this next question, but I think I'm not sure that all three of you could really answer. Maybe you can. Are Purdue Indianapolis engineering courses taught by faculty with experience from West Lafayette or from our former IUPUI campus?
I feel like of the three of us, I probably have the most experience to answer that question, but the answer is yes to both. So we have faculty that are that have always worked at West Lafayette that also teach classes down here, or only teach classes down here. It kind of depends on. A lot of people lived in like this general area and have now worked here, which is probably convenient for them. They live a lot closer now. But we do have a lot of teachers as well and professors that did move over with the transition between the universities. So yeah, they're taught by both. Same education it's always been. It's great. So it's a great time.
Okay. Is there a living learning community for motorsports? Is this something to try to do freshman year? And you probably don't know because you're a senior and it's not something you did. There is a learning community that is motorsports. I think for a first year student coming into motorsports, though, what would you suggest other than, because this would just be part of your dorm life, but what else would you suggest to a first year student coming into motorsports?
I'm obviously, I mean, you wouldn't know this yet, but I'm going to rep the club that me and my friends are the board members for, which is a motorsports engineering club that we've had on campus here for basically since the program's inception. It's a really, really great place to meet other like-minded people who are interested in the industry and just this program itself. You'll meet a lot of students who are the same year as you. You'll meet a lot of seniors. It's a really great place to make that connection and work your network with upperclassmen. That's how a lot of us ended up having friends that have graduated. And I mean, I can proudly say that in multiple states, I have friends who have graduated from this program that would let me sleep on their couch if I was in town for a few nights. So that's a great place to work your network. I do know that the learning community for motorsports is located in Lux Hall specifically. So you wouldn't be able to live in North and be a part. I mean, you could be a part of it, but you wouldn't live with them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I do remember when I was a freshman and most of my friends and mortars were there in the learning community in Lux, and they just all live on the second floor. And there are a hosts like F1 and watch party, or like, anything related to racing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. That's
And
fun.
just to add on to, there's learning communities for all of the majors as well as colleges. So College of Engineering, I think, would also encompass motorsports. So if you don't get a spot in motorsports learning community specifically, you could be part of the College of Engineering learning community and still participate in those events. And Jasper, you brought up a really good point about the RAs hosting the events. We have RAs who are regularly hosting like F1 watch parties, having Domino's Pizza at their events, and there's several other learning communities as well. There's the Honors College community, so if you're interested in that. There's the EPICS, VIP, and then College of Science as well for computer science, AI, data science, others as well. So there's just a whole bunch of communities, even on the Indianapolis campus, and I've heard there's growing, so yeah.
It's a loaded one.
Okay. Let's talk about the engineering related clubs at Purdue. I mean, I know you mentioned PyMed, you've mentioned motorsports. Jasper, are there things you're involved in that are engineering related?
Yeah, so if you guys ever heard of the first robotics competition, Purdue Indy has like a first club, which we call the first club. But essentially, like we're trying to build our mentorship so that we can help like a new startup team to participate in the first robotic competition. So I guess that's like heavily engineering related because you kind of have to know how to build a robot physically. And also, I'm currently involved in a club called the Purdue Autonomous Go-Kart. So we're trying to transform like a go-kart to fully autonomous by the end of this year. Yeah, and I'm the sensor department chair of the club, so I overview like the entire development of sensors. Yeah, and you'll find like those clubs like you have like every single engineering major that's involved in the club. Yeah, you'll find it surprising that every major has their own expertise that could contribute to the club.
Yeah, I would say the same from Motorsports Club as well. We have people from a lot of different majors. I mean, predominantly, of course, it's going to be motorsports students, but we have a lot of ECE majors as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd say there's also a lot of student societies as well for engineering specifically. So there's PESC, which is the Purdue Engineering Student Council, I believe. They host a lot of tabling events as well as scholarships for student organizations. So if you are an engineering club, want funding, so that's a lot of the time students get funding for foods, merch, things like that. PyMed specifically is also for biomedical as well as anyone interested in applying their degree to the medical field. So we have a lot of College of Science, motorsports, Polytechnic even, and a lot of mechanical engineering students as well in our club. There's also the BMES Society, the NESB, which is the National Society of Black Engineers, which I believe their first chapter started at Purdue University, and now they've grown nationally. They host conferences and they have career fairs of their own, and they have a chapter in Indianapolis. There's also the Society for Women Engineers, so there's a lot of opportunities for students to also form communities with the background that they identify with. There's the WE, Women in Engineering. That isn't a student organization, but SWE is. And then, yeah, so there's a lot of different opportunities. There's also specific tabling fairs that happen during the school year, twice a year, I believe, the Be Involved Fair, which is a showcase of student clubs. So you have the opportunity of take a walk around, get snacks or t-shirts or something on your way, and really join new clubs on campus as well.
I keep seeing all these motorsports questions, and so for the 4+1 when pursuing a motorsports engineering class, does a master's degree have to be in mechanical engineering? And what my understanding is, it will be in mechanical engineering, but there is a motorsports concentration.
Yeah.
Okay. So while you're, because the question earlier, your undergrad, it is motorsports engineering, but your master's degree would say mechanical engineering.
Yep.
But it does not have to be the motorsports concentration, but that is one of the options. Okay. And what minor programs will be available to students at Purdue and Indianapolis? Are any of you taking minors?
Yeah, I have a minor in mathematics that I completed this year. I think this is the first official year that it's been at Purdue and Indianapolis. I had started it previously, but yeah, I think it's available for all students now as well. Do you guys know of any minors?
I know that the GEAR program has a minor built in, so there's a global engineering studies minor with that. I'm not personally part of the program, but I have a ton of friends who are. There's also psychology minors available, as well as economics, management, math, as you mentioned, and math, I think, business, and then there's a bunch of different minors. I also know of students taking double majors, as well as certificates. So if you're interested in entrepreneurship, for example, they are launching this entrepreneurship certificate. I'm not exactly sure what it's called. And then there's just a bunch of different
right.
options.
It's funny that this was asked because today there was a minors fair. Yeah, minors and more fair. Yeah, students were out there asking. I know one of the questions was, it was a mechanical engineering student, and he said, "Can I do a minor in electrical engineering?" And the answer was yes. So yeah, I learned a couple things today too. So I think they're really, and it's only growing. That's the thing. It's only growing. There'll be more and more opportunities. Okay, so students, what is your favorite part of being a Purdue student at Indy?
Well, yeah, I can go for that.
He's jumping in.
Yeah, so like I really like the fact that we have like smaller class size here because like like my for my freshman year, my professors, they know me by my name, my last name. They know me my background stories and all that, and I was able to get more than 4 recommendation letters that leads to like on-campus employment and then just like research opportunity and even the internship I got this past summer. Yeah, so I think the small class size like really helps me in terms of like professional development.
I feel like mine's pretty obvious. I like the proximity to being to Speedway. I find it very beneficial and enjoyable. I really like that we can work out at Delara. I feel like it's a really unique experience. And I think it's probably just brought all of us students like a lot closer even. I also live really close to the Speedway, so that's really nice to be able to go in May, like whenever I want.
And for those folks on the call who aren't big motorsports people, you want to explain what
Okay.
Delara is? Because
That's
I've
true.
been talking
Okay.
about it too and
So
not done that.
Our motorsports, Delara IndyCar factory is one of the largest manufacturers for motorsports in the sense that they have a very broad breadth. They work in a lot of different series. The thing that they are most known for that I feel like most people might know about, they build and designed the chassis for the Indy cars, and they've been their primary builder for quite a while now, and even into the future will be their primary builder. If you're an F1 fan but not a motorsports fan specifically, they do build Haas's also, so that might be specific to certain people as well.
Okay, Ishida, you're up. What's your favorite part of being a Purdue student?
Can I not list? I could be here all night. But I'll choose my top three. So my first choice, even before I came to campus, was the hospital and clinical and industry network on campus. Being so close to pharmaceutical companies as well as companies, industries in general, was a really big leverage, I think, Indy students have in general. Even not just for BME students or pre-med students, for example, there's a lot of different opportunities to start building your career early on, especially if you kind of already have a direction in mind. And you're kind of have this inkling that, okay, I want to do this. Even though Purdue has the offer to like flexibility. So if you want to change, I know a lot of my BME students first year switch to like industrial or like Mickey or something like that. Purdue does give you the flexibility to do that, but I think coming here does give you that leverage. The second thing I would say is the community. So I toured the Indy campus as a senior in high school. I came here, I saw the people, the supportive community, and just this entrepreneurial spirit that was on campus, which really pulled me here. And it was a home for me. Like immediately from the start, I thought, okay, this is a home. I love these people. I want to be here. And third, I would say is the closeness of everything. I love that I don't have to spend my time in travel as much, and I can directly go do the events and activities that I really want, the walkability of the campus, as well as just the transportation in the city. As I'd mentioned in the earlier session, the scooters, the bike shares, most of it is free for students, as well as the city bus. I think that one's a pass, but it's pretty cheap. And then there's the Jag line that runs around as well. So I'd say those were my top three. So industry connections, community, as well as walkability.
So what are some of the things that some of you do or you know that your friends do that are in the city? We talk a lot about Indianapolis being part of the campus. I mean, there's student orgs. We've talked about that quite a bit. Things that there are to do here. You can go to West Lafayette if you want to on the shuttle, do things there. But what about the city? What are some of your favorite things?
Yeah, I feel like we have like, if you've never been in Indianapolis, we have Circle City. So the city has a giant circle in the middle of it. That's like weird to explain to someone that's never been here before. But basically, they close that area down in the city often for a lot of different events they host like year round. So I honestly think genuinely there's something going on all the time. In the springtime, I love walking the canal. I think it's so pretty and it's very peaceful. And it walks by a lot of the museums. There's a lot of museums that are honestly like within walking distance from campus, and the zoo. The zoo is across the street. It's great. Yeah, the art museum's a little further away, but still just as good. I think that the amenities being so close for students is really nice. You don't have to rely on like getting an Uber or a car or something. You can honestly just walk there.
Yeah, for me, I'm like a pretty big sports guy. So I like to watch like baseball. We got like the Indiana Indians downtown. We also have Lucas Oil for like the Colts and Cambridge for like the Pacers NBA, which whenever I go to their game, they lose the game. Yeah.
Luck.
Yeah, I know that. Maybe I should stop going.
You forgot about the Fever.
Yeah.
They're so popular right now.
Have you gone to a Fever game yet?
Not yet.
Well, yeah, you
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, one time I went, Simone Biles was there.
What?
Yeah. And
I'm going with Ishida when I buy it.
cute one too. But okay, and also Gainbridge Stadium, I think it was, Lucas Oil, the mall. Taylor Swift came to campus.
That's true. Well, not to campus,
But
but
we wish.
Yeah, Purdue did host like a STEM era, so we had like Purdue
That was
merch
great.
everywhere, as well as Taylor Swift everywhere. It is such a common occurrence. Indianapolis is a pretty big city. I wouldn't say it's the biggest, like
No.
Chicago would be probably bigger, but it has a lot of attraction. A lot of
They
attraction.
host a lot of sports and
Yeah.
like big events because we have a really big like outdoor music hall that's not even in the city that hosts like every big name anybody as well.
Exactly.
So
Didn't the guy who sang Ordinary came to Indy? Or I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Alex Warren was here, guys. Nobody.
Alex Warren. Okay, and then there's food. I love food. I am a huge foodie. There's the garage, which essentially has like 50 different restaurants
good.
everywhere. There's a theater there. You can go watch movies with your friends, grab dinner, food, boba everywhere. There's also the Mass Ave, which is like a whole street of food and like macaroons and like Dave's Hot Chicken, and like there's so much different variety of food. Also the biggest IMAX theater in the state is literally right across the street from us right now in the Indiana State Museum, and they give free tickets to students, and there's so many free opportunities. So the Fever game I went to, actually I didn't pay a dime because my ticket was covered, and they give free tickets all the time.
Yeah,
There's
that happens occasionally. It's
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah, so it's really like I would say being in the city is such a nice duality to the campus because one, we're so close to the industry for motorsports, BME, ECE, CompE, MECE, all of these majors and more. But we're also really close to life on campus. Not only are students creating life on campus, but also off campus, you have the opportunity of exploring and growing. And I think a lot of students take advantage of it, and it's really fun to hear their stories as well.
Okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So this is the next question. Purdue and Indianapolis amenities may be shared or rebranded under IUI, like the library, dining hall. Are there experiences or spaces that remain unique to Purdue students? And the answer is yes, of course. You know, this is and it's only growing. Purdue has purchased buildings and it just keeps growing. And what are some of the Purdue spaces that, and the thing is with I mean, there are buildings that are shared that I'm kind of glad they still are, right? It just kind of adds to the vibe to the campus. But what are some of the spaces, I mean, that's my opinion, I'm not a student, but what are some of the spaces that are specifically Purdue that you hang out in? You've got one specifically all the time, Delara, but
Yeah.
what are some of the other spaces?
I would say another space would most likely be like my favorite one that we have now is going to be the student center that we have. We didn't have that last year, but they purchased it and got it all ready over the summer and everything. It's very nice. It's very quiet over there. The library can be kind of noisy sometimes, as libraries can, which sounds opposite to what you'd think, but at a U college, it's pretty common. But it's very quiet. There's never as many people over there, and it's a nice, quiet place to study if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, I was at the ET building, which I don't know the actually full name for the building, but like I know all my electrical engineering labs are in there. So sometimes I just go in the morning and spend the entire day in labs, you know. Yeah, there was like a record of me spending 13 hours in the building, and my wires are still not working.
Yeah, to add on to these spaces, the Lux is now fully leased by Purdue, so there's only Purdue students in there, as well as a few interns, which I believe are also Purdue students. I believe. And then, of course, the new building that's being built, it's going to be 15 stories tall, so the tallest building on campus, overlooking a lot of the like skyscrapers in town and just a beautiful view of the sunset as well. But then there's also going to be residence halls there, classrooms there as well, a dining hall in the new building. And it's so close to campus. It's like a 5-minute walk from where we are right now. So different opportunities, and that building will be Purdue only. As well. So as Marilyn mentioned, a lot of these spaces are IU and Purdue shared, which do add to our, I guess, you know, when you mix salt and black pepper, it really adds to the taste, you know. So we've grown used to the culture here.
You don't notice. Like you don't look at
notice.
someone and go, I know that's an IU. Honestly, it's just like another friend around. Like it's really not noticeable.
Yeah, and they're nice people too, except football maybe. But But yeah, there's a lot of Purdue spaces and there will be more.
There will be more. And I'm so glad you mentioned the new building because it will be taller than the IU buildings, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
It's going up so fast. It gets bigger and bigger every day.
It's like 10 stories already.
Yeah.
and so there really are designated Purdue spaces that it's, that goes without saying, but it's a good question. I'm glad it was asked. Well, let's see here. We already asked, I think that one was already. When do you have to apply for housing? Ishita, you want to take this as an RA?
I got you. So I remember my senior year, the priority deadline was May. So you have to apply to housing on campus, including Lux or North Hall by May for priority housing. Now, underlining priority, you can still apply afterwards. It's just not guaranteed anymore. And if you don't want to live on campus, you can choose to get an off-campus apartment. And being in Indianapolis, you have tons of opportunities right off the bat. You can start your lease next week. And literally that's fine because it's a big city. There's so many different options for housing. And then specifically for the housing policy, you have to go through a roommate contract process. So you'll choose your roommate or you can choose to get randomized roommates. And then you get like a lottery ticket you get like an assigned time for it. Just make sure that you're on top of it, be proactive. And yeah, you'll get housing on campus.
Make sure though you do check all the deadlines on the housing website and go out and take a look at everything because I think sometimes it's easy to miss something.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you do have to pay the deposit before you can apply for housing. That's something else because that's a question I get a lot. It won't work. Well, you have to pay your deposit first.
Yeah.
Am I missing anything else that's obvious or important? Nope. Okay. Let's see, what else? With regard to significant differences in class size and Purdue Indianapolis being an urban campus compared to West Lafayette, which is the main campus with a larger student body? How would an Indy student experience differ from West Lafayette? Well, West Lafayette is much larger in student population than Indianapolis. And you all, I think, have been talking about it a little bit. And again, this comparison is hard to do because really it is part of one university. So we hope that the student experience, it's being shared. But what are you guys' thoughts on that,
We kind of touched on class size earlier. The class sizes here are going to be significantly smaller. And like Ishita said, even if your class totally has 200 students, you might be in a section that's only going to have 80 max probably. We don't really have that many spaces to hold that many students on this campus in general. So I think that's like a big aspect. That also means that your professors are going to most likely know your name, especially going into your sophomore, junior, senior year. They get a lot of one-on-one access with you, so they really get to know you and get the people around you.
And I think it's hard for us to answer this because you're obviously spending your time here in Indianapolis, and we know that West Lafayette is a good experience too. But I think the things that that the small class sizes, the entrepreneurship that you talked about, I think Dr. Oakes mentioned that he felt like that was something special here because it's this, I get to create this, there's a lot of that going on.
And then for the specific classes as well, I would say like I've talked to my friends in West Lafayette, and one of the biggest things I hear about classes is that they feel like no one really knows them. It's like they're part of a bigger campus. There's a lot of students around left and right, black and gold, but a lot of the times they don't feel seen. Which maybe is subjective to their personal experience, but I have the exact opposite in a good way experience on the Indy campus. I feel very seen, very heard, and even if there are things that need to be improved, everyone is very receptive to change, especially as Marilyn mentioned, this entrepreneurial mindset. Everyone is in creator mode here. So I think this is the best time to join the Indy campus because everyone's willing to listen to you and really make the changes that are needed because everyone wants their students to grow and develop the skill sets that are needed to achieve their goals. So I think this supportive environment in Indy is what keeps me here. And I really don't want it to change. And I know more students is going to be awesome. And I think I really want as many people as it's totally up to you guys what you decide. But as an Indy student, I would highly recommend considering this option as well.
I think, how many more questions did we? Okay. Couple different things. One is what options are there to visit Purdue Indy? Love this question because I was really going to end with this, but I have another one I'll end with now. Go out and check the Office of Future Engineers website. And so just do a Google search, do Office of Future Engineers Purdue, and it will give a list of all the different visit options we have. We do an engineering information session, and we also, there's the admissions office does a session that will, if you come to, it'll be next steps, and then we do ours following theirs. The engineering session will follow the admissions session. We've got a lot of virtual sessions coming up that are major specific. So if you want to know more about biomedical or motorsports or computer electrical or mechanical, go out and look at the website. It gives the virtual dates. Those will be really good ways to get connected. We also have a virtual session that will be about industry and the Office of Professional Practice. And so we've got lots of things left for you to do. So we do want, but if you can come here physically, I think that's the best way to kind of check out the campus and get the real feel.
Okay.
And so then that's exactly the question I was going to end with. What would be your one piece of advice for incoming freshmen? So we've got a whole audience out there of students who are thinking about perhaps coming. So what would be your advice?
I think my advice, I've said it like 7 times, but it's going to be, don't be shy, be social, build your network, make friends. I know that sounds like really hard, but in college, it's different. Everyone's new. No one's been here before. They're all scared and nervous. So just take that one step forward and don't be scared. There's a lot of people out there that want to support you.
Jasper?
My advice will be know how to manage your time, because going to any college is not just moving from location A to location B. You know, you're trying to like accommodate yourself into the environment. For example, you gotta know how to budget your own finance. You gotta do your own laundry right now. You gotta take care of yourself, make sure you're not sick, you're eating well. Yeah, just like time management is a very big thing in college.
Awesome advice. I wish someone would have told me these. But something else to add on, I'd say my personal journey was based on not saying no, having that yes period. Just say yes to all the opportunities that are coming your way. Whether you feel like maybe it's a little bit out of my comfort zone. I think those are the best opportunities to say yes to because they stretch you in a way that will help you grow in the best possible way. And also, on a side note, I know a lot of you must be considering between different schools and really seeing what is best for you. I'd say go with your gut. Like if it turns out to be Purdue, go for Purdue, but do what is best for you. And whatever you do, commit to it, is what I would say.
That's great advice from all 3 of you. And I want to say, thank you for everyone who did take their time to spend some time with us tonight. We're so glad you're here. Again, congratulations on being admitted to your engineering program of choice. We hope that we hear from you more, that you're able to join some of the other sessions and come visit us if you can. Okay? Thanks so much.